Ah, greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to Couple of Flicks. I'm Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
All right. How are you gentlemen doing?
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah, not too bad,
Good. Well, did you guys watch anything recently before we get started that you want to talk about?
I kind of did, sorta. It was that Netflix film, Project Power.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
I
haven't watched it.
You don't. It's not even good enough to be in this fucking podcast. It was just stupid bad in a not fun way.
Oh, damn.
Like it's one of the first movies I can think of in a long time that I didn't finish because it was just bad. Got halfway through and was like, okay, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah,
it
looked decent though. That sucks.
Yeah, it looked good. I looked like the trailer looked fun, and like I liked Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's in it.
Yeah.
And I was like so disappointed that he chose to make this movie because he usually chooses good movies to.
Yeah.
But this one just was bad. Like the basic plot of it is like there's a drug out on the streets that gives people superpowers for 5 minutes. But the superpowers are random to each user. Is one of the main drawbacks. So they're like, yeah, if you take it, your superpower could be you explode.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that does happen, but like the acting was real shit. It was so corny too. The CGI was meh. It was just, and then, like Jamie Foxx was in it as well. His acting was just atrocious.
Oh wow.
Then, like one of the main characters, like a 12-year-old little girl who was dealing the drugs. And she had some fucking stupid backstory about her wanting to be a rapper. So every now and then she would break out into raps. And like after the third or fourth one, I was just like, no, I'm turning this shit off. No, thank you. I don't give a fuck where this is going. Like the premise of a drug that gives you superpowers, interesting, but this little girl breaking out into raps every 20 minutes, no, I'm done. So I just had to turn it off there.
I think the last movie I turned off that I like couldn't even finish it was Dracula 3000, which was like over a decade ago that I tried to sit through this, and I turned it off because there was like some rapping in it that
what the hell,
like it was really poor. Like Coolio I think was in it, and like you'd think that would be interesting, but it was like really awful. Just I don't even remember exactly like what happened. I just remember like just something happened in that movie that I just despised so much that I just couldn't watch anymore. And I only got like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with Jamie Foxx in this, because, you know, he's a hip hop artist or whatever. I was like, did he write these raps? I'm like, I was watching it with a buddy. I was like, wait, he didn't even know Jamie Foxx was like a musical guy. He just thought he was a movie dude. And I was like, wait, are they rapping because Jamie Foxx is in this? Did he like have his hand in this? Because there's definitely one point where, like, you know, Jamie Foxx is trying to console the little girl, like, why are you doing this? Why are you slinging drugs? What do you really want to do? And she's like, I want to be a rapper. And he's like, okay, spit something for me. And then she was like, yeah, okay, fine, give me a word. And, you know, he was just looking around, gave her a random word, and she would start rapping. He's like, yeah, man, you got this. That's awesome.
Oh,
goddamn, no, man, no.
Yeah.
So bad.
I don't think I'm gonna.
Do not watch it.
I don't think I'm gonna. I mean, I wasn't really that interested in it to begin with, just because I'm over. Not only am I over superheroes, but I'm just kind of over superpowers too. Like, I don't want people to be special anymore. I just want them to just suck, you know.
Yeah.
So
well, The Boys season 2 is out. I haven't started that yet though. So
I like the first season.
First season was great. I need to start that second season up though.
Yeah.
I keep trying to avoid the trailer because I haven't finished first season still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn, we got to get on that. It was good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you watch anything interesting?
I haven't watched much, but I did watch the new Bill and Ted.
No, how was it?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't have the same, charm that the other ones had.
Yeah.
I think they tried a little too hard,
Yeah.
a little too late.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know that like nostalgia is pretty popular these days, but I don't know. I'm happy with like the two that already existed, like the Bogus Journey and the Excellent Adventure. Like those were fine. I didn't need any more than that. Like they're just
I actually never saw either of them.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
it's on my list. I have so many on my list, classics I haven't seen.
yeah. I mean, they're both pretty dumb, but I mean, they're enjoyable. Like the first one I would say is like at least worth watching, like for the just kind of for the idea. And because it's a movie about time travel that actually has like relatively consistent logic. I mean, it's not, I don't know, it doesn't like make a whole lot of sense, but it's like it's good enough, you know. And it's like enjoyable for like a dumb comedy. And then the sequel's kind of more of the same. It's a little bit darker, which some people like. It's like more 90s. Like the first one's more 80s, but the second one's like more 90s. And like the second one like deals with like kind of like things like with like death and like the afterlife and stuff like that. And like it has a little bit more of like a serious like plot. There's like some more kind of conflict going on in it, but it's still fine. I mean, the characters, like really the only thing, like the main thing that made the first one good was like the two main characters and how like silly and stupid they were. And the second one, they kind of do the same thing. So it's good, like in the same way that the first one's good. So, but I don't know. I don't really want to see the third one because it's like,
I mean, I thought the third one might be good because it was like not necessarily crowdsourced or crowdfunded.
Right.
I don't remember exactly how it came to be, but I definitely know the fans were a major part of getting it made.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that the case or something?
Yeah.
And it was still made by all the same people who made the first two. So
also, like the Keanu Sans has certainly helped too.
Yeah, he definitely helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, there's not really much you can do with it these days.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to like conclude the story. That's about it. I guess maybe that's the reason the third one was made.
Yeah, like the story was okay. Just the execution was like, doesn't work for me.
Kind of lame. Yeah.
Damn. It took too much time off.
Yeah. Same thing happened with Ghostbusters.
And then
Sort
we're
of.
gonna get it again.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. But oh well. I watched what did I watch? Oh, I watched the new Mulan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how'd you get that done?
Oh, I watched it at somebody's house yesterday.
Because I've seen it pop up on my Disney Plus thing, but they're asking for $30 to watch it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, no thanks.
Well, I mean, it was a bunch. It wasn't just me and my friend that was watching it. It was like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And like I chipped in.
Okay.
So
I liked
it was all
animated. How was this one? How did this one?
It wasn't as good. Yeah.
Football.
At least in my opinion. I mean, I think a lot of the things that made the original really interesting were kind of like, they were just kind of not, I don't know, they kind of just took out like all the interesting things pretty much. Like I can deal with the fact that they removed the music and they removed like the Mushu character. I can deal with that, but like in the original movie, like the girl, she goes on this journey where she actually like has to improve as a person and become like this great warrior, and then she does it, and it's like it's kind of a triumphant story because it's about her kind of proving herself. But in this one, they change it and kind of make her into sort of like a I don't want to call her like a chosen one, but like she's like superior basically. Like she has like superior abilities. And I don't know why they did that. It's basically it goes from being, it's not about her like trying to prove herself. Like now it's about her like it's about other people finally like being convinced that she's like good enough. And also like in the original, like they were kind of trying to challenge the gender dynamic a little bit, and they were trying to kind of do some things with that. And like when you watch the original, they actually like do like a pretty decent amount of stuff with it that's pretty cool. But in this new one, like they took out like all of that.
So all the music too.
Yeah, pretty
Even
much
the
all.
one dope ass. Like I hate music in any movie. Really, I hate musicals.
Yeah,
just because it breaks up the rhythm of the story, in my opinion, and gets
Yeah.
me out of it. But I love that training montage in the cartoon. That song was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was incredible.
I'm gonna make a man out of you or something.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Trying to remember who sang it. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
And they took out Mushu though. Too.
Yeah,
like,
they
they didn't replace him. I thought they replaced him with a not dragon or something.
well, I mean, not exactly. I mean, they sort of did, but not really. Like they changed that sort of aspect around, and they changed a lot of things about it. Like
It's not even Mulan then.
basically, I mean, like it's like based on the same story, but it's just like done differently. But like I don't know. It's one of the weirder remakes I've seen. I'd say like a weirder like live action remakes because they take the same the same basic story, but then they do less with it, which I don't know. I don't really understand why they did that. You know, the action scenes were good. Like they weren't great, but they were like they were good.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't really anything like necessarily wrong with it, like as a movie. It's just like they didn't really, I don't know, they didn't do much with it. And like everybody I watched it with was a big fan of like the original film, and like only like one of them ended up really liking it ultimately. So I'd say as far as whether or not I'd recommend it, I don't know. I
Wait till it's free in December.
Yeah, definitely not worth paying $30 for. You know.
Yep.
So.
That's
then,
that's more expensive than the Blu-ray would be if it came out.
Yeah, that's a huge asking price.
That's ridiculous.
Bit of a ripoff, in my opinion. I get why they did it. I really do, because it was a really expensive movie. Like, and not only that, but I think it was like I was reading. I think somebody was saying that it was the most expensive movie that has ever been directed by a woman, apparently, which is like,
oh shit.
Yeah. So like, it's pretty. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. And I, you know, when I saw the trailer, I was thinking, oh, actually, this might be actually pretty good, you know. So, and it wasn't bad. I like the cast and I like the fight scenes. It's just it was kind of. It gave me less though than the original did. So.
Was the cricket thing in it? The cricket guy?
No, they didn't really do. I mean, they didn't really do any kind of fanciful sort of like cool sort of stuff. It was a lot more serious actually than the original. Like it didn't really have very much of a sense of humor. Yeah, I don't know. So.
Damn.
And then the other thing I watched was the day before, which was Friday. Was on Netflix, the new Charlie Kaufman movie. I'm thinking of ending things. Yeah, it's quite something. I'm still trying to absorb it because like it's pretty like loaded, and it's interesting because I actually read the book, and I usually try not to compare the two like books to films. So I'm trying not to like let my opinion of the book kind of cloud my sort of opinion of the film. So, but I'd say like about like 2 hours in, I mean, as it goes along, it gets like weirder and more like complex and harder to sort of like follow and sort of figure out. And I'm still not really sure how I feel about the ending, but I think I liked it. I mean, it gave me a lot to think about.
Sounds like a Kaufman movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's deeply disturbing, though on a much more like psychological level. Like, and it's kind of touching on some rather like some pretty dark concepts that generally don't get explored very much in films. And yeah, I don't know. It was really, really challenging, but I liked it a lot. So it was very well made.
What was the name of it?
I'm thinking of ending things.
Okay.
Yeah. But definitely not recommended though if you don't want something like heady and complicated that you have to like think about, you know.
I like the heady.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're in the right like frame of mind, it's definitely
Yeah,
worth
it definitely
watching.
seemed like one you had to be in a certain mood to watch.
Yeah. Like it starts off pretty simple. It's like it literally starts off like as simple as you can like imagine a movie being. Like it's just like a couple of people visiting like one of their parents' houses, and like that's kind of like because like they've been dating for a few weeks and she's about to meet his parents, and as like they're on the drive, she's like you kind of hear her inner monologue, and she's basically like she's ready to call it quits on this relationship. And so that's how it starts off, with her like in the passenger side while her boyfriend is driving, and the weather is getting kind of snowy, so it has like a snowy atmosphere, you know, which kind of, I don't know about you, but when like the winter time tends to make me think about death a lot. So there's like that aspect of it. It's pretty like morbid, and so like they're driving, and she's thinking about ending things, so to speak, which like hence the title. But like while that's happening, there's also something else going on too, but like you don't really know exactly what that is right away. There's something kind of vague happening, but like the film sort of builds toward something, like, and then like they finally show up at the parents' house, and it's Toni Collette and David Thewlis, and they're both, you know, amazing actors, and they're both like totally psychotic in this movie, which is perfect because they're great at playing psychotic people. But in this film, they're psychotic on like a much more deep level, and it's actually really messed up now that I think about it. And like,
Nice.
yeah, and like, actually, I don't even want to say anymore now that I think about it. But it is worth watching though.
It starts out simple,
Yeah,
kind of like what Silent Rage is throughout the whole movie.
yeah.
You like that segue, boys?
It's a perfect segue. Yes, perfect segue. So, yeah, as we get started here, as we cross this bridge into the actual like discussion part, your choice of movie was.
My choice was Silent Rage,
Yes.
starring fucking Chuck Norris.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about he was in it until I saw the credits start rolling in.
Yeah, and I couldn't have asked for a better hero.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, you want to explain, or at least attempt to explain what there is of the plot? I mean,
Yeah, it's kind of a like you said, a simple plot.
yeah, it's like extremely simple.
It's like an hour and a half long episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, basically.
Yeah,
Sci-fi Walker, Texas Ranger.
yeah,
Yeah.
sci-fi slasher.
Yeah, it was definitely more of like a horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That wasn't scary at all. But
I guess I'll just go through the whole plot.
Yeah,
Instead of
I
trying
mean,
to explain it.
you could probably summarize it like on a napkin,
yeah.
like in
Yeah,
two
pretty
sentences.
much.
But let's
So-
see if we can pull this off here.
So we start out with this guy who wakes up and is it like a halfway house or something? I never understood.
I think he was a husband. Like it was like a normal, ordinary domestic type of situation. He was
Okay.
like
Is that
married.
that?
Yeah. He was married with kids, basically. So just
Okay.
an ordinary
Yeah.
man.
I didn't know
'Cause-
that either. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if that lady was his wife and that kid was his kid. I thought it was just.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it was,
because that other guy, the first guy that he kills,
yeah.
is
I'm not sure who he was.
maybe he was like the grandparent or something living with them.
Yeah.
Mm,
Somebody. Obviously, they were living with him, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he wakes up. Kids are obnoxious.
Yeah.
as they are.
It's a call from the doctor, which I didn't really understand that, but
yeah. He was called the doctor and said he wasn't feeling well or something.
yeah. And then goes outside, grabs an axe, pretends to chop wood. Just
Yeah.
hilarious. And then
Yeah.
kills his wife, kills some other guy, which
Yeah.
we don't know who it is.
That dude, I loved the sound effect when when it went right into that dude's head. It was just like a squish.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife thought that was hilarious. She walked by during that scene.
Yeah, I laughed out loud just
Yeah.
from that sound effect. I was like, so bad.
Yeah.
Before she gets killed, she yells to the mailman to call the cops, and the cops are Chuck Norris
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and,
yeah.
and some fat guy, which I just wrote fat cop in my notes.
All the police and literally all the cops in this movie are completely useless except for our hero,
Chuck
who
Norris.
Yeah.
golden haired, rugged looking,
Real young
yeah.
looking Chuck Norris.
Yeah. And this was only 82, I think this is from.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Still wearing his Walker Texas Ranger outfit though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shows up, he walks in the door, and he just dominates the whole scene.
Yeah.
He's in control now, not this
Yeah.
crazy dude with an axe.
Yeah, arrests him, breaks out his handcuffs.
Oh, and I liked too. They just to show that his partner was an idiot. He almost shoots Chuck Norris
Yeah,
as he's
yeah.
trying to capture him.
Yeah. And it's like,
Oops.
and he just gives him a look like, you almost shot me. Okay, moving on. Rather than, dude, you could have freaking killed me. Give me your badge. You're fired. Anyway.
Yeah. After that, he catches him. He breaks out of the handcuffs and then rips the door off the cop car.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Damn,
It was
dude.
incredible. Yeah. And then, of course, blam.
Yep. And fights the cops, and then they all just fucking blast him.
They don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Like a dozen times.
Yeah.
Then fast forward to the hospital.
Mm.
They what did they do? They injected him with some weird serum, I guess.
Surprised if it were some type of vitamins.
Trying
Yeah.
Oh god, so many
Vitamins.
vitamins.
But it wasn't a hospital, it was an institution.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this psych doctor was in the operating room too.
Yeah.
For some reason.
At one point, they demonstrate that he's become invulnerable, by cutting his chest open, and then his wound shrinks, and then the guy's like, "Oh, why don't you do that again?" And so they do it again just to show off the effects some more, which, yeah.
And I wrote down when I was going down, it's like, oh, is this a Wolverine fucking prequel? Is this origin story?
Yeah.
Well, it could have been, because at the end, oh no, now I'm getting ahead of my. We're not ready for spoilers quite yet.
Don't go there yet.
Yeah, go on.
Then there's this weird, I'll just jump to the bikers part, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. That's my favorite
That
scene.
was so random.
Yeah.
There was no reason for it to be in this movie.
No.
No.
It could have been in any movie.
They just needed a reason for Chuck Norris to kick ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to sort of try to explain what happens with the bikers?
Well, the first time they're at a diner, and then they were harassing the fat cop,
Yeah.
and he kind of just grabs the dude by the throat, throws him out.
Yeah. Leaves it at that. It's like, okay, this must be an ordinary thing with this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was 10 minutes later, they run into him again.
Yeah.
They're just driving down the street, and the fat cop tells the story about how he killed his dog.
Oh my god, yeah, that was so fucked up. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck, dude?
I couldn't believe that.
Like,
I was
Why? How did you become a cop?
Basically tried to drown his dog and then threw it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Just see if he would. How did that?
That was sick.
Fucking idiot.
Oh,
That guy was a bumbling idiot.
yeah.
From the get go, and that just proved it. Yeah, I accidentally drowned him, so I threw him in the freezer to dry him off. Or I don't know what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah. Chuck Norris had to, that was his best acting, because he had to pretend that this guy was saying to him was just a totally normal thing. I don't even know how he kept a straight face throughout most of
He's
this.
just pretty much like, okay, bud.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's like,
alright.
all right, whatever.
So they drive past the same restaurant or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And the bikers took it over.
Yeah.
That's
They
one of them.
they've basically laid siege to the whole place, even though there's only just one person there. And they tie him up, I guess.
And I did notice, the the partner was driving and he did a badass 180.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, maybe he's not completely useless. Maybe he's a good driver, and
Yeah.
this will come up again. No.
No.
Maybe that's his role in the movie. He's a good driver and shit. No.
But his role is
Yeah.
to be useless.
His role is
He
completely
like blamed it on the brakes or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? That was a dope ass 180. What are you talking about blaming? That was a good one. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No, I was impressed. So yeah, they walk into the bar and it's just pure mayhem.
Yeah, the best fight scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it perfectly demonstrates like what every Chuck Norris fight scene generally tends to be when he's fighting a large group of people. They line up
Yep.
just
One
so that
by
he can
one.
beat each and every single one of them up, you know? Like it's just
Just-
perfect.
Throws half of them, doesn't even punch them or anything.
Yep.
Yeah, he like slams that one guy with his elbow and then kicks that other guy. He must like how many times like does he kick somebody in the face in this movie? It's
A lot.
A
incredible.
lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like repeat kicks too.
Yeah.
Like from different angles, the same kick.
Yeah. And they just line up for it. It's like they want to get beaten up. You know, there's even at one point one of the guys is like, "What are you guys waiting for? Get him!" And they don't. They just stand there waiting for him to finish beating up the next person so that they can, you know, they're waiting their turn so that they can go next. And yeah. And he beats up every single person.
Yeah.
While the cop is,
Yeah, meanwhile, the fat cop's talking on the radio about the tits he just saw.
Oh, that was so good. That was
Oh,
so
yeah.
fucking funny.
It's one of the in the midst of all this biker stuff, one of them like flashes the
Yeah, before the
overweight
fight
cop.
started, like
Yeah.
one of the biker girls flashes the dumbass cop.
yeah.
And Chuck was like, "All right, we're gonna need some backup. Go radio in. We need backup."
Yeah. But of course he fails to
He fails
get
to
the
do that.
pickup.
He's just talking
Yeah.
about the titties. He's like, "I think I'm in love."
Yeah. To this other cop, and this other cop is just as useless as he is because he's asking him questions. Like,
Yeah.
and meanwhile, like Chuck Norris is just beating everybody up, you know, just laying waste, you know, left and right. People are like flying all over the room, you know, smashing their heads in, all this stuff. And the two cops are out there dorking around on the radio.
Yeah, like eventually, like I don't know, a gunshot or someone flies through the window, and then the dude's like, "Oh shit, mayhem, backup, we need backup." Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
were supposed to do that 10 minutes ago, my man.
By then it's too late.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris dropped everyone.
Yep, everybody's down on the ground. You know, it was an epic bar fight scene. Even though he doesn't like rescue the guy that got tied up, he just leaves. But oh well, wasn't the best. It wasn't the best bar fight I've ever seen in a movie, but it was a good. The best one I've seen was in Ninth Configuration, but it was still a pretty good one. You know.
It was pretty good. And it was pretty pointless because
Oh yeah.
the bikers had nothing to do with the rest of the plot.
Nope, not at all.
No.
What else? What do we got after that?
Oh yeah. So then back to the plot. Yeah.
I think after that is the pointless sex montage with the doctor's sister.
Yeah.
Oh, there's like 2 of those, right?
Yeah.
Just Chuck Norris getting it in.
Yeah.
That's all it was there for, I
The
think.
sex scenes were pretty useless, but you know, whatever.
Kill some
At
time,
least,
I guess.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the movie barely even has like enough of a plot to like make like an 80-minute movie. So you may as well add like 20 minutes worth of of useless stuff.
Yeah.
So
Saw some boobies, so
yeah.
By my standards, it's already got 1 star.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Chuck Norris sleeps around.
Then it's the doctor at his home cutting some meat,
Mm.
leaves a knife on the counter.
Mm.
The killer.
Close up of the knife. Whoops.
Yeah. The killer kills the doctor and his wife.
Yeah, he flees the hospital or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. And then the doctor's sister comes home and finds the body.
Basically, everything that happens after that is
Yeah, it's like
yeah. You can
Very-
pretty much guess.
movie.
Yeah.
very slow, like when
Yeah.
when he's chasing someone.
It was a horror movie with all the tension removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opening scene was kind of suspenseful in a way, because like the shots were like really long. They got kind of ambitious with the
And
camera work at first.
Yeah, the first scene,
Like-
when he went to go through the house and kill people, I was like, wait, is this one long shot?
Yeah.
This isn't. But there was a cut. Or
There
two,
were
I
a
think,
couple
but-
cuts, but for the
Like,
most part, there was some
ooh.
decent tension in the opening scene. And
Yeah.
also, one thing I really loved about this movie was the lack of a soundtrack.
Yeah, especially
I
that
didn't even notice that.
the
Yeah.
last fight scene.
There was like there was some music. There was like cheesy, 80s ambient like horror movie like type of music that happens here and there. But for the most part, it was like a pretty quiet like movie where like people were like walking around and like the
There wasn't
killers
even-
like hiding and
Wasn't even much dialogue. Yeah.
yeah.
Silent Rage.
Yeah.
That's where they
Speak-
got the name. I guess.
Emphasis on silent. Yeah. But so yeah, then Chuck Norris, like he gets a distress call, and so he's on the scene.
No, what was happening is they were gonna take his girlfriend to a cabin.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
she goes back to like get packed and shit.
Yeah.
And he comes to pick her up, but everyone's dead and she's freaking out.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. And then they take her back to the institute
Yeah.
with I noticed her doctor is Dr. Stein.
Oh yeah.
Frankenstein
Oh,
reference
wow,
there.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Chuck Norris version of Frankenstein.
I guess then so there's the good doctor that he already killed, and then there's the bad doctor that injected him.
And his sidekick, the bad doctor's sidekick too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess Igor and Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
If you want to
I
keep
guess
going
it's-
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Chuck Norris equivalent of Igor and Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah. Yeah. Which is just some two losers in a lab, basically.
Yeah.
Because Chuck Norris doesn't think too kindly of scientists.
Of course. He wouldn't.
So then they tried to kill him with the acid after that.
Yeah.
They killed the Igor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he reversed it and stuck him right with the whatever you got stuck with as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The needle in the neck or whatever, or in the arm. And he just. Actually, that was kind of a creepy death scene. I must admit. Like when he gets injected, like, I don't know. There was something about that kind of wigged me out a bit. I don't know what it was.
Creepy as this movie can get, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then, like, it basically ends with Chuck Norris fighting the invincible dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Chuck, and then like his partner was there too, though, and he dies in Chuck's arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking.
But then you had a nice little. He gets up, puts his hat on.
Yeah.
Serious Chuck time. You can
Yeah.
totally tell. He's like, all right,
Yeah.
it's on now,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Let's get down to business.
Yeah.
He put his hat on.
Yeah.
Full Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yep.
There we go.
And kicked
And,
his ass out the window, like
Yeah.
5 stories down.
Yeah.
Survives.
Every time he's like goes to check on him. Nope, he's alive. And
Yeah.
every time Chuck is surprised, like, dude,
Yeah.
you saw this guy get fucking lit up 20 times. What did
Yeah.
you expect? A few story drop to kill him?
Yeah. Like, picture Halloween with Michael Myers, only put Chuck Norris in it. And you basically have, like, the ending of Silent Rage.
Yeah.
It's just the guy keeps getting up. Chuck Norris beats him up some more.
That was an awkward fight scene.
Yeah.
No music,
Yeah.
and the choreography was like,
Terrible.
Yeah. The choreography was a letdown, I must
Like
admit.
all of Chuck's kicks were a good foot off of fucking hitting and
Yeah.
connecting.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
Jesus.
that's the one where they repeated it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And like, you wouldn't think that watching some guy kick people in the head like that many times would get boring, but eventually it actually kind of does. Like, which is
Especially-
surprising.
I mean, especially Chuck's kicks, because
Yeah.
they're not like any special martial art type kicks. They're just him like, "Argh!"
Yeah.
It's he's
Yeah.
not that limber or anything.
Yeah.
He's
Got the basic technique down, and he's got the confidence, and then that's about it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
he's
Had to
kind of
end it.
limited as an
Had to
actor.
end it by throwing him down a well.
Oh my
Yep.
God, I was so fucking.
Yep.
I was like, because it took him like 5 minutes to actually chuck him down the well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like fighting over the well for like a good 5 minutes. Is like, wait, are they really gonna end it by throwing him down a well?
Yep.
Sure
Yep.
enough.
But then they kill him. Or did
They
they?
didn't.
Because yeah,
Like, that's-
spoilers.
Like the whole time where they were trying to kill him down, throw him down the well, I was like, why are they doing this? It's obviously not gonna kill him.
Yeah.
You're just gonna chill down there for however long until someone like moves or just relocates the well. Like, what's
Yeah.
the end game here, guys?
I guess just he got dealt with.
Yeah. Typical slasher ending.
Yeah.
Yep.
The killer not actually being dead.
The like, yeah, and like the whole there was the last line of like the girlfriend. She was like, "Do you think it's over?" And Chuck was like, "Yeah, it's over."
It's over.
It's
over.
Okay,
Don't
Chuck.
worry, baby.
Okay, okay, yeah.
It's over. I promise.
Yeah, we're right.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I guess we can presume that the guy went on to become Wolverine, but you know.
Yeah. And they showed that flash at the very end of him just popping out of the
Yeah.
water of the well.
Yeah, with the
So-
musical, sting, or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
Credits.
Great movie. I mean, out of the 3 episodes I think we're talking about on this episode, or out of the 3 movies we're talking about on this episode, this is my favorite of the 3, only because like it required the least from me. Like I didn't have to think. I just had to sit there, watch Chuck Norris do his thing. My brain wasn't on. I wasn't really paying attention. And like that's pretty much all I really needed at that moment in time when I watched it. So it was satisfactory enough for me. I wouldn't say it's one of Chuck Norris's best movies. I wouldn't even say it's one of his good movies, but I don't know. I enjoyed watching him beat people up for the most part until it got
I
boring.
mean, I haven't even seen any Chuck Norris movies.
They're not
I
that
just,
good.
Yeah, I think I've just seen a shit ton of Walker Texas Ranger,
Yeah.
but this was the first Chuck Norris movie I saw,
Yeah.
and I did not expect what I was going to see. I thought it was going to be, Walker Texas Rangery, but it was more like Chuck Norris in a horror film,
Yeah.
and a not scary, like I want to emphasize, not horror.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Chuck Norris kind of ruins all the scares.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, when you watch this, you could tell. You can understand why he just decided to never be in a horror movie ever again.
Was that the
Yeah.
genre of it too? Of this? Because I didn't really look at the genre that it was on Fox or anything.
I mean,
It said like action thriller.
yeah. I mean, when I watched it, I watched it thinking it was a horror movie. I think because like last time, like when you chose this movie,
Yeah. that's-
something you said, I was like, okay, so this must be some kind of slasher movie or some kind of thriller of some
yeah,
sort.
that's the
So-
impression I got from the first time I heard about it. So
Yeah,
it's
and-
like martial
yeah.
arts horror.
I
Yeah.
didn't get I didn't look into it at all, except for when I saw Chuck Norris coming up on those credits.
Yeah.
Like the opening credits. I was like, oh, okay, this will be a Chuck Norris movie, but it was a horror movie. I was like, oh, well, okay, this is a horror movie. Okay.
Yeah, but then Chuck Norris shows up, and it's like, oh well, all right, I guess we'll just go with it. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I wouldn't really call it like a particularly like good horror movie by any means.
definitely.
But-
it just had a bunch of horror tropes.
Yeah.
That
I would consider it a horror movie personally.
it would have to.
Yeah, that's the only thing really. Yeah, because I wouldn't say it works as a martial arts movie.
No,
No.
not at all.
I'd say it works better as a horror movie than it does a martial arts movie, which is surprising considering that it's Chuck Norris. So.
Yeah. I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, I think 2 as well.
Yeah.
Just because boobs and Chuck Norris.
Excellent. Yeah.
They each get a star for me.
Yeah. I'd say for me, like either 2 or 3. I'm leaning toward a 2, but I don't know. I still enjoyed it. So, I mean, like as a movie, like I wouldn't give it like a. It was, as a movie, like quality wise, I'd give it a 2. more than likely. But as far as how much I enjoyed it, like, I don't know, like, hard for me to not enjoy a Chuck Norris movie. So.
Yeah, I think because the bar scene was like, that was as good as that movie got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the bar scene was pretty cool. So.
And it didn't have anything to do with the plot.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, absolutely zero. So it felt like a deleted scene from like another Chuck Norris movie or something. But anyway, so that was Silent Rage. Can't even remember the title. And then okay, so then what was the one that we were gonna do next?
My boyfriend's back.
Oh yeah.
You could do that or the other one. So
yeah, let's do My Boyfriend's Back next. Yeah.
Okay.
So my choice was My Boyfriend's Back. And the reason I chose this one was because it was a movie I'd seen when I was a kid, and it was the first. It was I don't think it was the first zombie movie, but it was one of the first zombie movies I ever saw, and it was also the first romantic comedy movie I ever saw as well. So that it kind of set in my mind the blueprint for what every romantic comedy movie is. And then I also saw it before I saw The Wizard of Oz. So to me, the ending when I was a kid was shocking. Watching it now, I feel differently, but we'll get to that. So to describe the plot, so basically there's this gentleman it's a high school movie.
where everybody looks in their 30s.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the
It's
first
another
thing that
one of
popped
those.
in. And I was
Yeah.
like, God damn it! All these people are fucking way too old to be in high school.
Yeah.
Every single goddamn one of them.
It's true, yeah. Which that tends to be what happens with most high school movies, especially high school movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
But
this one was particularly
definitely in the
bad.
90s too. Yeah, there were a lot of like people in this that they were starting to get a little bit of a crow's feet thing going on, you know. But let's see. Although actually, despite the cast, despite the cast mostly consisting of people who are way too old to be playing the characters they're playing, the movie itself actually has a pretty decent cast.
I was fucking surprised by the cast when people started showing up.
I was shocked too because I didn't remember it having such a good cast. Well, first of all, you got Andrew Lowry, who I'm never going to complain about, and Tracy Blind, who I think there was another. This is the second time she's appeared on this show because the first time was in Class of 1999. You remember that one? Yeah. So she, so she appeared in that,
Okay.
But then in addition to her, you also get Mary Beth Hurt, who's always reliable.
Who is that one?
She plays the main character's mom. And then
I recognize her.
Yeah. And then as if that's not enough, you also get Matthew Fox pre-Lost.
Yeah, that was when I was blown away.
Yeah.
Well, not the one I was blown away by, but I saw the credits, oh shit, he's in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's epic. And then Cloris Leachman also appears in one scene, which is incredible. And then as if that's not good enough.
Was Cloris Leachman the one that had the husband?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I recognized her too.
Yeah, she was really cool.
Yeah.
And then in addition to her, Philip Seymour Hoffman shows up in his first role.
This was his first role?
Or one of his first, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I was blown the fuck away.
Yeah.
Especially because during the opening credits, it was just Philip Hoffman.
Yeah.
I was like,
Is
is it?
to
I don't
Philip-
know. I don't think
Philip
so. It
Seymour?
might just be another guy with, because they didn't have the Seymour, which he's, usually goes by. It's like, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No. He actually he has actually a couple different scenes in this movie, and he's hilarious too. He sounds really weird.
Yeah. The best acting, I think, in the whole movie too.
Quite possibly, And then to top all of that off, Edwin Neal shows up too. Playing one of the hunters, who's going along with the dad.
Yeah.
And Edwin Neal is the hitchhiker from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So this movie, as far as a cast goes, is 5 out of 5.
And did you catch Matthew McConaughey as an extra?
Oh yeah.
Was that because I saw a guy that looked just like him, and I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
is this guy playing Matthew McConaughey, or is this actually Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah.
it is.
Oh my God. Okay.
That was awesome.
Damn, that's hilarious too. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And actually, speaking of Matthew McConaughey, and this is kind of a tangent, but a movie I watched for the first time that I forgot to mention was that Beach Bum movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when that guy showed up, I was literally about to pause it
Yeah.
and go to his IMDb page to see if he was in this movie, but I was like, no, that's not Matthew McConaughey. No.
Yeah,
Like,
I
wait,
did
that's
look
a-
it up. He plays
Oh.
guy number 2.
Like, that's
That's
amazing.
perfect.
I did not. I thought it looked like him, of course, but I was like, nah, can't
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, it's got a great cast, and then also it's directed by Bob Balaban.
Yeah.
So
What's
who's-
he done?
He's mostly known like for his acting roles. He appears in like a lot of Wes Anderson movies and like various
Oh,
things.
really?
He was the weather guy in Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
He's in a lot of stuff, and he directed another movie before this one that has a similar theme. But anyway, I'll get to that. Anyway, so the plot. So yeah. So this guy, Johnny, I think his name is in love with this other girl.
Johnny Dingle.
Johnny Dingle.
I was laughing so hard every time because
Quite a name.
they say his name a lot, Johnny Dingle, and every time I just laughed.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the one good joke you guys got running through this movie is
Yeah.
Johnny Dingle.
Johnny Dingle. That is a pretty funny name. He's into this one girl, Missy, I think her name is Missy.
No.
Yeah, Missy. So he's into her. He's been in love with her for forever. The movie starts off with some unfortunate narration, which I'm never a fan of, but
Comic book narration too.
yeah. But luckily this movie doesn't really do too much of that. I mean, at first it's kind of annoying, but then for the most part they managed to keep it like to like a minimum
Yeah,
throughout
and
the
then
rest,
at the
so.
end it was also a little heavy.
Yeah, they gotta end it somehow, I guess. But anyway, so he's attracted to her. He's in love with her. He wants to go to the prom with her. That's like his one dream, is to go to the prom. And so he comes up with a.
But she has a boyfriend.
Oh yeah, she has a boyfriend, kind of an on again, off again type of boyfriend. They're not really in the greatest shape, but she's still with him, with much to the distress of the main character.
Oh yeah, and he's liked her since he was like 6.
Yeah.
Whatever, they were childhood friends and shit.
Yeah, you get this really adorable scene where he's at her like birthday party and he's like gonna give her like a keychain or something like that, or not?
Locket.
Yeah, a locket. That's it.
God,
And-
remember that locket?
Yeah.
Chekhov's locket.
Oh yeah, the locket ends up actually being important to the plot.
Right, Chekhov's locket.
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah. So he and his buddy, who is also played by somebody I recognize, but I'm not remembering who off the top of my head.
At first, when I first
he-
saw him, I thought it was like Bob, Bob Pinciotti from that '70s show.
Yeah.
He looked a lot like him, but younger. But
Yeah.
then it showed a few better shots. It's like, oh no, it's
Yeah.
not.
It's like
Got my hopes up. But
Never mind
no.
then. Yeah. He comes up with a not super smart plan to have his
So
friend
stupid.
like basically pretend to be a robber at a convenience store. I mean, I get what he's trying to do. Like he's trying to like be a hero and all this stuff, and like he's kind of inspired to like be this guy who like jumps in and be like to save the damsel in distress, because like so he's in high school, but he kind of has like he's kind of childlike. He throughout the whole movie he has these weird little fantasies that he
Which
experiences.
pissed
like,
me
here
off
and
to
there.
no end.
I
'Cause there
mean,
were so many of them.
there were a lot of them, but
Like the first one, I wasn't upset about because it was like a typical
like
high schooler falling
like,
asleep
teenage
during
thing.
class. I was like, okay, this is fine. But then they kept doing them. I was like, God damn it, stop
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at times I was like, why is this happening? And I'm like, oh, they did this again.
Yeah, exactly.
And they get
Same.
weirder and weirder too as they go along.
And then the movie is weird itself
Yeah.
in general. So I was like, I was just so confused on whether or not what was real there by the end. I was like, what the fuck is
It
real
is
in
it
this?
is a pretty weird movie, honestly. Yeah, because like he unfortunately ends up dying. Because like what ends up happening is like his friend who's gonna go into the grocery store or the convenience store is like who's to pretend to rob it, like he ends up actually getting like intercepted by somebody who then proceeds to steal his gun and his mask and go in, which I don't know why he would have used a real gun, but whatever. Anyway, he goes in to rob the store.
To actually rob it.
Yeah, to actually rob it. Johnny gets shot and killed. And as he's dying, like the girl's like, "Oh, I'll go to the prom with," after like he asks her, like if she'll go to the prom with him because like he's like dying and he's not really conscious. He's not fully there anymore. So it's like his dying wish, and she says that she will. So then the funeral happens. Then he rises from the dead, and like the gravekeeper is like, "What? Like go back." And he's like, "No, dude, I got a date to the prom. Like she said yes, so I'm gonna go do that." So now he's a zombie.
Yeah, and he gives him like, "Ooh, bad things will happen."
Yeah.
He's like, "What? You'll find out if you leave."
You'll find out. They do the Disney thing where it has like the last shot of the guy like saying it out loud to himself, but the other guy doesn't hear him.
Very Pet Cemetery-ish too. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
So, for the opposite, instead of don't bury, stay buried.
Yeah. But up until that point, the movie is kind of a typical sort of teenage rom-com.
Yeah, fairly straightforward until then.
Yeah. But then it starts getting into some like weird sort of socially problematic, I'd say, territory because
got wacky. That was my word. When I was watching, I was like, "This is wacky."
Yeah,
that's the word that kept coming to mind.
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, pretty a little edgy for the time, in some ways. So he shows up at his house, so in the logic of this film, like rising from the dead is actually like not considered that uncommon. I mean, like it takes place in a small town, and the people in this town like have only heard of it happening like one other time.
Yeah.
But so basically, so he's undead, and everybody considers him undead. They know that he died. They know that he was shot and killed and buried. So they all know that he's a zombie. And because he's a zombie, there's also a certain degree of prejudice toward him because, as we all know, zombies like to eat human flesh and eat people. And so, and he's a zombie, and of course, like, he's rotting. And
one thing before we get to that part too is just the title of the movie.
My Boyfriend's Back.
Yeah. Whose boyfriend was he? He didn't have a girlfriend. So I'm like, he's not a boyfriend to anyone.
Yeah. Well,
I
think it was a stretch. I think that they were trying to like, because you know how some movies like to have like they like to have the titles be like titles of songs that already exist stuff. So like I think this is like an example of that. Like there's that one movie like big girls don't cry or whatever. I don't remember what it was called, but anyway. So he starts rotting, and he goes and finds the widow of a person who had previously come back from the dead.
A little before that, I want to mention like how he just comes back like to his parents.
Yeah.
Like just right after he just walks in, he says, "Oh, hey mom, hey dad," and he's like, "Oh, hey Johnny," at first, and they're like, "Oh, you're back."
Yeah, they're taken by surprise.
Barely though. Too.
Yeah.
Like, it was fairly nonchalant that their dead son just came back, and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine."
Yeah.
And then like one of my favorite lines was when he goes back into school, like, the teacher's reading roll call.
Yeah.
And Johnny, she like read out Johnny Dingle. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. He died. That's right." And then he comes in a little late, and she's like, "I thought you were dead." And he was just like, "I got better."
Yeah. Which is the tagline to Crank 2, by the way. He died, but he got better. Just like the dumbest tagline I've ever heard for a movie. But anyway. Everybody kind of the movie has a pretty dry sense of humor. Everybody kind of underreacts to the fact that he's a walking zombie, but but they're prejudiced toward him because he's a zombie. And so he goes to meet up with this the widow of a guy who had previously come back from the dead. She explains to him he has to eat human flesh in order to survive. He's not going to make it another day because he's rotting like really fast. He finally goes out on a date with Missy. to the theater to see a zombie movie, which ends up not going super well, and his ear ends up falling off in the car, and so this is an issue. And then the buddy of her boyfriend, so her boyfriend's name is Buck, and so her boyfriend's friend Chuck, his names are similar, so it's a little weird. So Chuck, who's played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, he basically tries to kill him, and he goes after him with an axe. He goes after the main character Johnny, and in the process of trying to kill Johnny, he ends up killing himself on accident.
Stupidly, just like with an axe, he upswing.
Yeah.
He smacks it into his head and kills himself.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And so Johnny takes that opportunity to eat his stomach, which is just like...
He's like, I didn't kill him. I was just eating him.
Yeah. And they're like, you ate Chuck. And he's like, not all of him.
And even before that, he's tried to like take a bite out of his friend's arm. And he's like,
yeah.
I just wanted a bite.
Yeah. And his friend kind of is like mad at him for a good chunk of the movie until eventually they break bread, which, I mean, I don't think I could forgive somebody for trying to eat me, but I don't know, whatever. I guess he's a good friend. So.
Like, yeah. And
not that this movie's supposed to be taken seriously anyway, but.
And also there's that plot of him trying to get better with going to that doctor or the mortician or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Was, like taking samples of him.
Yeah. So somewhere in the midst of everything, he goes to the doctor, and this doctor decides to try and like figure out a way to like make him like live for like a significantly like longer period of time. And so he takes a skin sample. And he actually pulls it out. He actually like comes up with some kind of like winning formula that does like extend youth. And he's gonna use.
They call it the fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Found or whatever.
Yeah. And he's like right about to like use it on the main character. He's like ready to, and he's all hyped up.
Yeah. They used it first on a chicken, and it turned into a chick.
Yeah, which was cool. It's like, all right, excellent. Yeah. And so he's going to do that, but then his assistant is like, but hold on, you can make money off of this.
I love that. That was so good.
You know, and it's like it's pretty
it.
hilarious. Yeah. Like that was funny because up until that point in the movie, the doctor was like 100% like gung-ho on board, ready to save this boy's life.
And that's all he was doing. No, I just want to save this kid's life.
He was so dedicated.
That's my mission.
And then his assistant says like one thing, like, and suddenly he turns around and completely becomes a different character.
Of course, comically though, it was more, like more comically than just kind of dumb.
Yeah. Oh no,
I mean, it was dumb comical, but still comical.
It was really funny. There were actually a lot of things that were pretty funny, and like at some point, like I mean, the whole town wants to like burn him at the stake and kill him.
Because he ate Chuck.
You know,
Chuck's dad was there trying to.
Big Chuck, who is pretty hilarious as well. He's like the leader of this mob. It's like torch wielding like person, like group of people going after the guy, and he camps it up pretty good. He's pretty funny. And what else happened? Oh yeah, and then at some point his parents also decide to like, for whatever reason, try to like assist him, and at one point they kidnap a child. Not only do they kidnap him, they serve him to him on a silver platter.
Before that, his mom was like, "Did you murder a boy at school today?"
Yes. Yeah. They did that. His parents did not give a fuck.
Yeah, no, his parents were excellent, very very supportive parents, you know, for sure. At one point, they take a body from the morgue and stuff it in the fridge. I mean,
there's plenty of them there.
Yeah, they were practically giving them away.
Yeah, but that little kid also happened to be Chuck's little brother.
Oh yeah.
Well. So like, when they came to Johnny Dingle's house, like the pitchfork mob, led by Chuck's dad. The kid comes out and he's like, "Son, what are you doing here?" "Oh, he was gonna eat me." Yeah.
Which was, you know, that certainly didn't help him get into their good graces by any means. Although, you know, surprisingly, Missy actually ends up taking to Johnny, you know, quite well after she finds out that he ate Chuck you know, just to go to the prom with her.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't get scared off by that. So that's a winner of a girlfriend as well. So
Yeah.
like I'd say this main character's lucked out pretty good by having a good parents and a girl that he's attracted to who actually doesn't mind the fact that he's a cannibal, and he
Yeah, I was
also has a
getting-
friend who doesn't mind either. It's like excellent.
I was getting the vibes of Dr. Alien,
Yeah.
like that she was attracted to him for no real reason other than him being like a dead dude, and she was just getting off on that. And
Yeah, it's like kind of weird at first, but it's like I could get into this. You know? It's like, all
and
right.
then there was that one other dream sequence which pissed me off. Was like,
Well, when his penis falls off.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
he like sneezes. First he sneezes, his nose falls off,
Yeah.
and she like Missy puts it back on with fucking a piece
Glue or
of gum.
something.
It was a
Yeah.
piece of gum. She was okay. Just wait till morning and it hardens. And
Yeah.
then there's everything just starts falling apart. And
Yeah.
then, it was a dream.
Yeah. And then there was that really gross dream sequence that I hated where like like I don't know, like this movie was pretty messed up actually. Like so the dad is tied up and the dad actually tells him to eat him. Like he doesn't even like do it, like he doesn't eat him against his will. He actually like says, oh, you know, you're such a sissy, you can't handle, you know, a lot of meat
Oh my
that I and
God.
which is just like oh.
Man.
And so it was just disgusting. And then
It
like
was-
he's like all bones and then
Except for the head,
yeah.
which you could tell was coming out of the back of the chair.
Yeah.
Like the chair was visibly had a hole in it. Where
Yeah.
his head was on top of a plastic skeleton.
Yeah, it's just so repulsive. And then Missy shows up and she's like, "Ooh, I want you to eat me next." And it's like, and he actually almost does it. And it's like it's a dream sequence, but
Again,
it's like,
that's what's like, God damn it, another dream.
yeah. And it was
because
just like,
I wrote down, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Because he started eating his legs.
yeah,
I was like, wait, what? Because the guy wasn't reacting like to any pain,
yeah,
and then he ate him fully except for his head.
yeah,
I was like, just what the fuck? This is getting wacky.
yeah. And like,
Nope,
I-
dream. Oh, okay, of course.
and I'm seeing this, and I'm thinking about the fact that I saw this movie when I was like really young, and I'm just wondering like why I was not like traumatized by that, because that was disgusting. I didn't mind the other dream sequences, but that one was just too much for me. I don't know why.
I mean, they didn't really show much.
I know, but it was just the idea of it was just. The thing is, like, I get really grossed out by cannibalism, like,
Yeah.
and so like,
Well,
I
I mean,
think
it
I
wasn't. It was a zombie. It wasn't really cannibalism.
I guess-
it was a zombie.
yeah, but I guess he just. No, you're right. I guess it's just he wasn't enough of a zombie. Like when I don't. It's weird because like I don't get that bothered by like somebody who's like rotting and is obviously like not. Who's like an obvious zombie who can't control himself or whatever, eating somebody. But when it's like somebody who like is fully autonomous and can like speak and be coherent and like think, and they're eating somebody, like that's just like, I don't know. That's just weirded me out in a
And
bad
there was
way.
no blood either when he ate him fully.
Yeah, I mean, this movie was like, clearly made for like a little bit more of a family audience, which is strange because it's a zombie movie, but you know.
And I did, and like there was like after he ate him too, he had like a giant ass like fat suit on, like
Yeah.
I'm stuffed.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
That was a funny little
Yeah.
shot.
Let's see. Missy's dad is the chief of police, of course. He's like, "You better get out of town, son." But of course he doesn't. Let's see. Not Trish. Missy's gonna go to the prom with Buck. Johnny's friend wants him to eat Buck, mainly because he hates Buck, not because he actually wants Johnny to like, you know, go to the prom. But whatever, I guess.
Matthew Fox, Buck, right?
Yeah.
Matthew Fox is Buck.
Matthew Fox, who pretty much does nothing in this movie
Yeah.
other than show up to look good,
Yep.
you know. And then eventually Johnny gets beset by the torch-wielding mob. He retreats to the doctor. And with the intention of thinking that the doctor's going to help him. And then like he's like, "Oh, well, I'm going to need to take some of your body apart here. I'm gonna need at least half of, or so, I forget exactly what he
He's
said.
like 40 pounds.
Yeah,
I
I'm
need
gonna
40
need to take 40. I thought you were gonna save me. I thought this was gonna save me. He's like, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I
it's
just-
much change. Plans change. Or
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
We're just gonna get rich off you. Sorry.
Nothing personal. That was hilarious. That was
Yeah.
the funniest thing in the whole
He
movie.
was just so blunt about. Nah, we're screwing
Yeah.
you over. That's all
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah. They chase him down. They corner him at the cemetery. Eventually, Missy and company end up somehow convincing the entire mob to not kill him. The father of Chuck, understandably, in my opinion, leaves in a huff. And then Johnny gets to go to the prom with Missy. And he, of course, rots away as they're, doing their big dance, And then that leads us to the last 5 minutes of the movie, which end pretty much the same way Wizard of Oz does in a way, except not really. I don't know. When I was younger, I remember thinking, "Wow, I didn't see that ending coming." That was the main thing I remembered about this movie. But now, I see that ending, and I'm just like, "Ooh, damn!" They were really trying to aim for the Disney crowd here for some reason.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming,
Yeah,
but I hated it.
yeah. So
I mean, I saw it coming since there were so many other ones sprinkled throughout.
yeah, it was kind of the whole movie was kind of dreamlike anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it turns out that he didn't actually die, but that there was some kind of error that happened in the midst of the initial robbery that ended up killing the Johnny character. I don't know, coffee didn't get spilled or something, and it was something minor indiscrepancy.
The robber didn't knock over a pot of coffee.
Yeah, which is just the biggest stretch. So he gets brought back to that moment, and pretty much the same thing happens, but he's romantically wearing the locket.
Right.
The bullet hits the locket. Missy opens his shirt and sees that the bullet's in the locket. She's like, oh, I can't believe. Oh. And she falls in love with him, and then they get to go to the prom. And
it had the pictures of them when they were kids in it.
yeah, which is
you love me for that long.
Yeah.
Oh.
Flowers, sunshine, happiness, unicorns, and rainbows. The end. It was good until the ending.
Yeah. I was,
Yeah.
entertained throughout.
Yeah.
Just because it was wacky as fuck.
Yeah. The cast was solid. The humor was funny. The plot was, kind of messed up, but pretty good. I cared about the characters. The main character was pretty likable for the most part. Yeah, it was good. What'd you think of it?
That was good. It's just goofy enough
Yeah,
Yep.
same. I agree.
without being too goofy.
Yeah.
I just did not like the ending.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I think if it had ended with him just rotting away at prom and then credits, I would have been more than happy.
I thought they were gonna do something more with the serum or something to bring it back.
They kind of just dropped that,
Yeah.
but I still liked it. So I think I'd give it a 3.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.
Yeah. 3's all around then.
Yeah, it's a 3-star movie.
Yeah.
Perfect. So,
Definitely fun.
yeah. But speaking of high school movies,
Another
that's
one.
your pick.
This fucking one. It wasn't nearly as funny as I thought it was gonna be by reading the synopsis or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucking stupid, to be honest.
Well, what's the title?
Just one of the guys. Just one of the guys.
Question mark.
I guess. So it starts off with the main character. I don't really remember any of their names.
Yeah, I did, but there's just too many
Terry.
names.
Terry.
Yeah.
Terry.
Terry.
Terry. Terry.
That's the
That's
only
right.
one I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Terry. Terry the genius.
Terry. She's in high school, but she has a college boyfriend. She seems to be like one of those go-getters, like straight A student type
Yeah.
perfectionists. She has a friend that's having troubles getting boys as well, and she's trying to coach her how to get boys,
Oh, yeah.
which doesn't work out too well, and it's
Nope.
very like surface level stuff. Like one of the first things is like, oh, who's the hottest guy, or who has the best car, get him, and
Yeah.
that kind of shit.
Yeah, which is surprised by the film's bluntness about the character's superficiality.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, one has a Pinto, one has a fucking something, and one just has a Huffy. I was like, Jesus. Well, then who's the hottest? Go for him. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she has a brother.
Yeah. Which is, the younger brother, who's my favorite character.
Mine too. At the beginning, at the very beginning, I hated him. I was like, this fucking perv. He was such a goddamn perv
He
for
was.
like the first 30 minutes. Every one of his lines was just horny and about trying to get it in.
Yeah.
And
That
just,
was he's the kid from Dr. Alien.
Yeah, the main character in Dr. Ale, that was him. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he got
No way.
the vitamin
I did
treatment.
not
yeah.
even recognize him at all.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
him.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Well, that
pretty versatile.
tracks.
Versatile actor.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Like one thing I thought was just fucking weird. I was just like, he put up his entire room with nudie pics,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
nudie centerfolds from Playboy, just plastered his walls.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen so much so much nudity in a movie that was rated PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and he's trying to get laid. I don't think if you bring a girl in there, they're gonna want anything to do with you, man. So
Yeah, they're gonna look at your wall and think, you're looking for one thing.
yeah.
Mm. But he was a perv, but I still loved him. I mean,
Yeah.
he was just so insane. He was like he was like one of those characters in an 80s movie that like could never exist in real life without him getting punched in the face repeatedly by
Yeah.
like everybody, because he's just so
I thought-
insufferable.
Yeah, I thought he
But
was going to get punched a few times.
I know,
Yeah.
I was ready
I
for
think
him
he
to.
almost did. I mean, like,
Yeah.
and he kind of was also kind of just not fit in the movie well, at least in the first part, because it wasn't like that, like teen sex, whatever they're fucking called.
Sex comedy.
Yeah, it wasn't really that, but he was totally right out of a teen sex comedy.
Yeah, he was like hornier than the characters in American Pie.
Yeah, he was like straight up horn dogging.
Yeah,
Like,
I couldn't believe
I was
it.
like, what the? Calm
like,
down,
Jesus
man. What
Christ.
the fuck?
Yeah.
But anyway, like,
He's
I guess.
like, I'm 15 years old. I'm almost past my prime, and it's
Right.
like, is that sure? Are you sure that's the kind of message you want to send? Like,
Right.
it's like, Jesus.
Yeah. And so the movie's plot basically goes along the lines of Terry wants to be a journalist or
Yeah.
some sort, and there was an internship prize for writing a piece, and she doesn't get it, but two other dudes did,
Yeah.
and she thinks it's because that it was only because she's a female. That's the
Yeah.
only reason she didn't get it is because she's a female. So
Which the film actually didn't. I mean, I don't know. The film didn't really like explore that dynamic.
no,
that
because
much,
that's
like-
one thing I had down at the bottom I was going to
Like-
talk to on the afters, but we can get to it now too. Is
Yeah.
that okay, I'll actually save that for a little later.
Oh
'cause
yeah, that's fine.
it is a huge fucking annoyance I had with the movie too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we do meet her boyfriend as well, and he's just a fucking creep as well.
Yeah.
Because like, why I still don't understand if it was something in the past, like in the 80s or whatever, that college kids date high schoolers. Is that?
I mean,
I mean, maybe
I've
if
known
it's
a lot of people
fresh-
that have done that. Like
kind
even
of weird to me, but
even now, I still know people that do that. But I mean, I don't know. When I was in high school, like I knew so many people who did so many weird, stupid, silly things. I did weird, stupid, silly things too. So I guess I don't know. I've reached the point where I'll like watch a high school 80s movie or 90s movie, and like the characters will have like 30-year age differences, and it's like I almost won't even notice most of the time
yeah,
because
fair
I've
enough.
just seen it so much now. Like,
So after she gets denied,
Yeah.
she gets an extension for like a week, and she gets this idea to become a dude.
Yeah.
To start cross-dressing as a dude.
Yeah.
Like, and then again, she just named herself Terry.
Short for Terrence, I guess.
Well, I don't know what her female full name was, unless it was just Terry.
Sure.
Could have been Teresa or something, but I don't know if we ever got that.
Tari.
Yeah. She like knocks at the door, fools her brother for a second, but only because he was distracted looking at a porno or something.
Yeah,
Sure.
which is pretty much what he does. Like whenever he's not doing anything, he's probably just looking at porn more than likely. That's like all his character. His character is either looking at porn or trying to get laid. Those are literally the two things he does, like throughout the whole movie, and that's it.
Well, Susan B. get part of it, because when I turned around on him, because I said like, yeah, I fucking hated him in the beginning just because he was creepy porn.
I know true. Yeah.
Is when he accepted her mission.
Yeah.
So she came in, told him what she was doing, and he was like, and started helping her out.
Yeah.
She's like, no, you're not pulling this off. Like, you need to, first, your stance is way off. You need to, open up more. Guys take up space.
Yeah.
Which is, the 80s. I don't know. It's an 80s movie.
Yeah.
Something. So, like, man-spreading is a thing in these days.
I guess so.
Before the term was made up, it was still a thing. Yeah. You need to man-spread more. Guys take up space.
That's funny.
And I laughed.
He, like, grabs his crotch.
Yeah, he was like, and then you also need to know how to scratch your balls.
Yeah.
So he taught her how to scratch her balls. He's like, I don't have any balls. And, she stuffs her pants with a pair of socks and shit.
Yeah.
Which this is when I turned around on him. It's like, this guy's funny.
Yeah.
He's just teaching her how to be a dude.
Yeah. And he
scratched his balls and shit.
And he looks at, like, her crotch after she stuffed the socks in, and he's like, huh, maybe I should try that.
Yep.
It's just, like, such a teenage thing to say.
And like she was like, but my balls don't itch, and he responds with, all balls itch. It's a fact.
Yeah, I out of all the characters, he probably got the most laughs out of me.
Oh, definitely, he was a good one for sure. So
then she ends up donning the getup.
The getup, yeah.
Which, what were your thoughts?
Looked all right, I guess, as much as you could do, I suppose, with whatever you got lying around.
She looked like a junior Bible salesman or something. Like she looked younger than her brother, and she looked like she was like in a suit, like she just came out of church or something.
Mm-hmm.
When she had the glasses on, she kind of reminded me of one of the Corys.
Yeah, me too. When she's got the sunglasses and she's like, yeah, I'm just being a guy, and it's like,
kind of reminded me of Corey Feldman.
Yeah, which was hilarious.
I think that was kind of like, because there was that that one chick that was kind of into him.
Yeah,
into him, Terry.
Yeah,
because of that, she's like, oh, but he's like kind of artsy and not like a masculine jockey dude. So like she was kind of into that mysterious kind of artsy kind of guy vibe. So.
Yeah.
She also referenced Karate Kid in that.
Oh yeah, and I was like, oh shit.
And then
she does look just like him or
and
her.
Billy Zabka is in it.
Oh, is he?
Which I thought was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the main douchebag at the other school.
The one who kept on doing the stupid thing was with the lunch tables. It wasn't even funny.
No. But yeah, she goes to school on their first day there too and gets roughed up by him, like chucked into a bush.
Yeah, which is like, that's exactly what happens to me whenever I go near like crazy football jocks. They pick me up and throw me in the bushes, I mean, 80s movies were charming, like in how they like painted the world of high school in such an innocent like fantasy way, where the worst a bully will do is flip your table, knock your food off, ruffle up your shirt, spill juice on you, throw you in the bushes. In 80s movies they don't like beat you to a bloody pulp or anything like that.
And in the bushes is where she meets, I guess this is a rom-com, so the love interest. Which I hardly can call this a rom-com.
Yeah.
If it's only reciprocated one way, really, throughout 99% of the movie, or like 99.9% of the movie. Like, you
Yeah.
could tell she started to have a crush on this new guy,
Yeah.
who was also a new guy for a couple of months because he moves around and shit. Apparently, is his backstory. He moves around a lot, and
I mean, if there was one character that really did not need to be added to this film, it was that.
yeah, the
Guy.
whole thing just
Because like,
the whole plot of the movie, just like of her trying to write this thesis or this journal, fell apart when she met him, because like now it was about her trying to get him a date to the prom,
Yeah.
which took up most of the movie.
yeah, and also she's trying to like live vicariously through her identity, because she's playing the role of a guy, and yet she's constantly trying to find ways to spend time with him that wouldn't like draw negative attention to her, like or the fact that she's like a woman or something like that, which is just at that point like the writing just sort of goes out the window, because it's really hard to like write a plot like this in a way that like makes like logical sense. I mean, it's the type of movie that basically relies on the characters being as stupid as possible, again, which unfortunately tends to happen with a lot of romantic comedies.
And the thing is, like, I'll mention it later on the after, if you guys remind me of. There was an episode of Boy Meets World where this happens.
Yeah.
In 22 minutes, they have a better plot, story, resolution. In 22 minutes, and this movie was fucking.
It's over an hour and a half.
Too
like,
fucking long.
Yeah.
And but yeah, anyway,
it was really long.
it was so fucking long.
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised.
And like, she did it like again. She dropped the whole almost like, besides mentioning it a few times, she dropped the whole trying to get back into that thing.
Yeah.
And just trying to help out this love interest she had, and she also wanted to prove how easier it was for guys. But then, she starts finding out how hard it is when the bullies mostly, of course, only pick on dudes. They don't normally, beat up girls.
No.
So she realizes, guys have it hard too.
Yeah, which
is,
anybody could have told her that.
right?
I mean, like, look at the plot of like every like TV show that was about like an elementary school or a high school or a middle school, like any TV show about school in general. Like,
yeah. And then there was like one, I guess, boy-related stuff was her, going into the men's room.
Oh, yeah.
I just finished. Like, she didn't want to, whatever. I just finished off when she was, standing in front of the urinal. But then, I don't know why, she went back into the after. And because
she actually had to use the bathroom, but she couldn't use the stall because there was a guy in there, and they thought that it would be weird if a guy like used a stall for what, which I don't know. I know plenty of guys that use stalls that aren't comfortable using urinals. So it's not even like that big a deal. It's not like he would have noticed anyway. If anything, she was actually drawing more attention to herself by standing at the urinal and being like, I'm just finishing up here, just like, I don't know anybody that does that. So
and then she said something to him like, how's it going? And that guy was just like, shut up or piss off or go away, I'm taking a piss. Like, what most normal, because you don't, if for the lady listeners out there, all half of you, there's no conversation that goes on in the urinals ever.
No.
Like, we avoid all type of any eye contact. Nothing happens in there that we want. And she was like trying to make up small talk, and he was just like, fucking piss off. Jesus Christ.
The reality is most men pretend that they're invisible when they're in the bathroom. And that's it. And she does the exact opposite.
And then she like goes out, forgets she actually has to go in, and then meets the dude going back out that she had that interaction with, and she's like, goes in, and we're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, the movie is obviously a comedy, but
that wasn't funny though. Well, that was just stupid.
Well, in case there's people out there though who have trouble differentiating between reality and comedy, if you're going to take life lessons about how to act like a guy, don't take them from this movie.
This is one of the scenes that I felt they had to put in of a girl trying to use a boy's bathroom. Ha ha ha. This is what would happen.
Yeah.
And then they had that again with, just in general gym class.
Yeah.
Apparently the entire gym class was separated into boys versus, and no girls were there.
Yeah. And it's like shirts versus skins.
Yeah, shirts versus skins. And she fucking faked being sick.
Yeah, in the worst way possible. She's like, oh, my stomach.
Yeah. she somehow
And-
got a doctor's note
yeah.
and shit. So all
Yeah.
she didn't get undressed in the locker room, of course.
No.
She was just handing out towels to the naked dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
Which-
okay, they had to add this because a girl in the locker rooms. Ha ha ha.
And it's kind of like a empowerment type of thing too, because it gives her an excuse basically to like spend time around a bunch of people, a bunch of men in the shower getting towels, and she gets to flirt with them and smile and stuff,
Yeah.
but not really because she's pretending to be a guy, so she has
Yeah.
to do it kind of like invincibly
Yeah.
or invisibly.
Yeah, there was those like I said, the girls were saying, "Oh, he's cute." He's
Yeah.
like, because he's a not weird, but like artsy. You know, there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, wearing shoulder pads.
And so another side characters, I guess there was what I laughed pretty hard at these two nerds. I think they
yeah.
were
They were
that
great.
pretending to be aliens.
Yeah.
At the during one of the class, like they were just thrown in there randomly, just speaking like gibberish, and
Yeah.
we are from another planet studying your earthly ways. We did not do this homework because that is not our mission.
Yeah. I love nerd characters in these movies. So far, they're like the best part of like a lot of these. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, there was that. They were funny, and
Yeah.
also, and like, I'm trying to remember what was the movie we watched the week before that had nerd characters in them that were funny.
Was it Dr. Alien?
Dr. Alien. Oh no, Milk Money. Because I was trying to
Oh,
remember
yeah.
that line where they said, "What are the chances of somebody like us hooking up with a girl like her?" And then they all get on their pocket
yeah.
calculators.
Oh, yeah.
It's hysterical to me. I
Uh,
couldn't remember what it was, but yeah, now
that
I
was
remember.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And then they had that like the weirdo, the lizard guy who was like fucking a shit ton of lizards in his trench coat.
oh yeah, he was
Whipping out lizards all over the place.
he was gonna feed a live mouse to a snake right there in the lunchroom.
Yeah,
It's
she
like,
called him
whoa.
like, yeah, it's Snowball's feeding time, and he pulls out a little mouse, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh, Snowball, he's so cute. Oh, this isn't Snowball, this is his food. And then takes a snake off his neck. This is Snowball.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Jesus.
So she leaves the table.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, nice seeing you.
So I guess she starts, hanging out with Rick more,
Mm.
which is her love interest.
Yeah.
Which is
Which
they're
is
just
like,
broing out from Rick's point of view.
yeah, it's not really much of a love interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And she
whatever.
tries to get him a date.
Yeah, fails
Fails
repeatedly.
many times
Yeah.
until it eventually starts working on the main bully's girlfriend.
Right, which I saw that coming.
Yeah.
Like, actually, the whole plot's pretty predictable, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
and it goes. I mean, if you've seen like any movie about like, I don't know what gender bending comedies, I guess they're called. Like, what was that one? That I always like forget how to pronounce the title, but Juanamon.
Juana Man.
Juana Man, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I had that on DVD for over a decade and a half. I couldn't get rid of it. Like, for whatever reason, like I would always like try to like sell it, or I would like leave it on like a table at a yard sale or something. Like, and like nobody would ever like
Of course.
pick it up.
What do you?
Yeah, I even like put like 50 cents, and nobody picked it up. So I still have my DVD copy of Juana Man. And it's in one of those clippy like cases too that like break really easily. Like I hate it.
That.
Yeah, it's like the most useless thing I own.
Yeah. So yeah, she sets him up eventually after failing multiple times with the bully's girlfriend,
Yeah,
and the girlfriend starts realizing that the bully's a douchebag, of course. So, and again, this is another prom movie as well. They were trying to find a date for prom for this dude, and Terry goes to prom with her best friend who,
Yeah.
didn't
and it's like,
have a
oh,
date.
They're pretending to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, how it's not like anybody's noticing anyway. So
Yeah, instead of like
nobody even cares like that she's dressed like a guy. Like nobody even cares that she's acting weird or drawing this insane amount of attention to herself. Like literally, like nobody cares about what she's doing except for her.
yeah, and like that first chick that was into her, comes over, tries to get with her, tries to jump her,
Yeah.
him, her.
Which adds to more awkward moments.
Awkward moments, but she just sends her brother in there.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
Oh yeah, and she has to lie and say, because her room was a girl room, like
Yeah.
looked like a girl's room, and she said, "Oh no, this is my room,"
Yeah, so they
with
go into
porn
the-
mags all over the fucking walls. This is my room, and the girl's like, "Oh,
Oh wow,
Wow,
and then she's like, no, but you see this person, and then she's like trying to like say
oh
something.
she recites
I don't
what the
remember.
guy, yeah, because her brother, when her sister first questions in the
Yeah.
beginning, she's like, no, they're intelligent too. She reads Vonnegut in the bathtub. She does something else, and
Yeah.
then she repeats the exact same thing. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then her boyfriend, it's like again another gender bending type trope is,
Yeah.
oh no, like this girl's here to hook up with her, but her actual boyfriend's the lady is here to
Yeah.
hook up with the male version of her,
Right.
but her boyfriend's coming to check on her
Yeah.
because they were gonna go to, I don't fucking remember, they were
Yeah,
gonna go to prom.
I'm not even
or
sure why he
something.
went to the prom
He was
even
like,
in the first place.
Whatever. So she had to do the quick swaps and
Yeah.
quick dress swaps, and
Yeah. Which
did it work out? I forget. Somehow
it worked, but it really shouldn't have, because
Yeah.
like she sucked at acting.
Yeah.
Like, she just drew a lot of attention to the fact that she was clearly pretending to be a guy, and everybody around her was just too stupid to notice, basically.
Yeah, and
it's
she
like,
distracts the lady with her brother. She says, there is a half-naked chick up in your room willing to do anything.
yeah,
Go get her.
yeah, and so he does.
And he does. He actually gets it in,
yeah,
and then like his horniness just is completely gone
yeah,
after that. I was like, oh, all he needed was to bust one out.
yeah.
It's like,
And now he can think clearly, apparently.
obviously. Like,
Yeah, all that was needed for a character to become a genius was for the character to get laid. Who knew?
And then so they finally make it to prom, I guess. Whatever. The bully comes back, gets in a fight with whatever the fuck his name was.
The main character.
Rick.
Oh yeah, Rick. Yeah.
Rick, yeah. And then she jumps on him because she's defending him because, I love him, whatever.
I love him.
And eventually comes out that she is a chick.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I
But,
think that's what
well,
happens, right? Or
Well,
is
what
that-
happens is like it's made clear that she's actually interested in him.
Yeah, and then
so
she's like, I'm not gay or
yeah,
whatever.
oh yeah, okay, I knew that was gonna happen
Yeah.
too. I knew they were gonna make like a little gay comment where he was like, "Oh, I get it.
You're gay.
You're gay.
No, I'm not gay.
No, I'm not gay. Look." And then,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, that was probably the most surprising thing about the movie.
I was
like
shocked.
was most of the
I
time
had
in these
no
movies.
idea
Yeah.
that was gonna happen.
Yeah. Do you want to say what happens?
She showed him her tits.
Yeah.
She exposed her breasts. Let me
Right.
put it more eloquently.
Which we've seen in a million movies, but most of the time when we see it, it's from the back.
Yeah.
However,
We got full frontal nudity
yeah.
or full frontal breast action at least. I was like, whoa.
I like
She had
his reaction. Like, where do you get off having tits?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he still thought she was a dude, just a dude with
That was
tits.
funny.
It's like,
yeah.
wait, how'd you get those?
Yeah.
Because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
That's how.
Yeah. And then instead of actually like doing what a normal person would do and like be like, oh, okay, now everything makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? He gets mad.
Yeah, of course, rom-com bullshit. It's like, ugh, whatever. Like,
It's like, why not have more conflict at this point? There's already been like so much conflict. Let's just add a little bit more in the last like 10 minutes.
yep.
Anyway.
And and then like, so I guess like they make up eventually, like,
Which is good.
which is fine,
like-
but it's still kind of weird because the whole time he thought she was a guy.
Yeah.
I thought it realistically might take a little more getting used to, because if it was me and that happened to me, I'd be like, I still kind of think of you as a guy, so let's go a little slower and ease into this whole lady thing.
Yeah. 'Cause it's like
If I
a little
wanted
bit
it to
more-
happen, of course, after you lied to me.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You liar. So, but no, he was like, oh, again, rom-com. He flipped on a switch. Yeah, I'm fine with it. And they make out in front of everyone. No, it's okay. She's a chick.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
And then we gotta have a happy ending
Of
the movie, because like, so she finally writes her.
She writes the.
Yeah.
I didn't really. Yeah. Okay. Yes, there is that, but.
Oh,
What I want to, so before that is like, she does again submit her thing as a dude.
Mm.
It gets rejected
Yeah.
again for the same exact reasons.
Yeah.
Not because she was a chick, but because it was a shitty article that she wrote.
Yeah.
So her point then on, like from, that was like about halfway through the movie, which is again why I wanted to hold it off to the end. That was halfway through the movie. So she should have just stopped right then and there. Her experiment failed.
Yeah. And she
Like,
should have reevaluated her entire life
maybe
goals.
I am a fucking shitty journalist.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I should try harder, or, you know.
Actually sit down and figure out like what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I guess only after she had this bullshit life experience, which I don't know what it added up to. That was my question. Like, what did she actually learn? I don't know, because it didn't explain anything really that well, except that she was a shitty writer. Yeah. She had to, and then the rest of the movie was just her trying to get her love interest a date to the prom.
Yeah.
So what did she learn about herself? I don't know, except for that she's actually a shitty writer.
I guess she learned to write from the heart.
I guess, but what did she, again, she wrote what she learned about during this experience, which I did because I was kind of half paying attention near the end. Like, yeah, did they kind of read out what she wrote down, or like? I mean, I know they showed her doing. She sat down after it was all said and done to write out a good article, but you know, based on the fact of the stuff that went through, but like, I don't know what the article was about then.
Well, I know that like at the end they're talking about how like she like assumed the role of a male or whatever, and like it was about like that experience. I think it was kind of what I was supposed to gather, or what we were supposed to gather. Was
so
it like
again, I don't.
But it's like I don't know.
What could she have gleaned from that besides she was a shitty writer?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. It doesn't really say. Like it just kind of like says,
like,
"Oh, you did well. Good job.
You did well this time for writing better."
Yeah.
Okay.
And
thanks.
She's happy. Life is good.
She got a boyfriend. She got the internship. Yay.
Yep.
Yippee.
And she got to be just one of the guys.
Yep. I mean, and I just like, one of my takeaways is his brother. Like, again, I said I hated him in the first couple scenes, but after he got laid, he turned out to be real cool.
Yeah.
And one thing also confused me during it was they must have been going to the same school.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I think so. I can't understand.
Because he showed up at this school and was kind of trying to give her away at like the lunch table or something. And she, as the male version of her, was like, "That's my brother." So there's a plot hole there. Like, I would assume people would know that he's the brother of the actual girl version of Terry. So it's like, so you're kind of worded.
You're kind of like ratting yourself out here.
You're just a new brother out of nowhere.
I guess.
Just appeared out of nowhere to come to the school of these two brother sisters we already know about or should already know about.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a plot hole and a half. I was like, wait a minute.
I mean, it's another just sort of weird example of like
them not thinking through.
Well, like what I was saying earlier about like the plot essentially being reliant on everybody being oblivious.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to romantic comedies and stuff, like I don't really have like that much against them. Like I can enjoy one if it's like intelligently written enough.
No, I can't say that this one was.
Yeah. I mean, even just and I know like I brought this movie up, earlier, but that movie that we watched a few weeks ago, Milk Money, like that at least had some wit. It had like some thought put into like how
that movie
things
a
go.
lot.
Yeah. And like, when this, like, cause there's a character who's like a prostitute, and they do try to like hide the fact that she's a prostitute, and you know, it is kind of far-fetched, but it's at least aware of the fact that it's far-fetched. Like there is like sort of a, what do you call it, like a tongue-in-cheek aspect to it.
Yeah, and actually witty innuendos and shit,
Yeah.
like of the mix-up between the father and the prostitute, saying, you know, just using euphemisms.
Exactly. And that was perfect. Whereas in this movie, it was almost like the audience just, they can't think about it, you know, because if they think about it, the plot falls apart.
Right. And there was just, like I said, that one scene where she introduced him as his brother.
Yeah.
And he was like kind of half-heartedly trying to get her caught, but it wasn't using any smart, witty euphemisms. It was just, I don't remember exactly what, but I was just like, come on, you could have at least had a little clever, the writers could have at least thought of, spent 10 more minutes trying to think up of a little more clever lines. Like, it's obviously been done.
Yeah. They were trying to do something like unique with this, but they didn't really quite know how to do it. And then like, I don't know. And then honestly, like the plot just, it reminds me of just like a million other movies that have the same plot.
Yeah. And so what I wanted to also bring up was, I've been watching, like I got Disney Plus just to watch Boy Meets World over again, because I love that one. And there's an exact, like early on, there's an exact episode of this, like almost beat for beat, but in 22 minutes.
Yeah.
And it actually has a nicer fucking outcome because it makes sense and is actually heartfelt. It's like, you know, Corey is trying to write an article for the newspaper, the school newspaper, of the difference between men and women and all that kind of stuff. So he tries to dress up as a lady, but he is hideous. That's the comical relief part, is he just looks ugly as fuck. Yeah. And so he gets Sean, you know, the show. I don't know if you guys are aware of the show.
I love Boys Meets World.
Yeah, he gets,
I absolutely loved it.
So he gets Sean, his best friend, who's, you know, a bit more of a player. Yeah. He's a bit more of a ladies' man. And he actually looks good as a girl. He was like, you know, like Corey was like, oh my God, you're a smoke show and shit like that. And like,
I think I actually do remember this episode now that you're talking about
I think so too.
Yep. And so like, Sean's his good buddy, so he's helping him out with the project.
Yeah.
And like, it basically revolves around Sean, actually, instead of Corey. It's a Sean-centric episode because, you know, he's a ladies' man. Yeah. And he's, you know, is dating girls left and right and being a little pushy, a little more forward. And like, so he goes on a date with a guy and, you know, it's the whole I said no kind of thing. Like, no. And then Sean's having this realization that all you guys are after is one thing, and us making out and all this stuff, even though I said no. And we just like, it's like, you know, women just want to be heard. They want to have a nice conversation. They want to get to be friends. And that's Sean's takeaway from the thing, which is a nice little, and that's an actual story
arc.
An
actual conclusion.
It's just like a nice little story arc from a guy who, you know, his typical behavior is to go from one girl to the next, just making out with them and shit like that. Yeah. But he learns that, oh, there's more to it. Like he, you know, at the end, I believe he's like, listen to this girl and, you know, does a little picnic, even though it's the middle of February or something outside. And that may have been another episode too, but anyway, he took away that girls want to be listened, and like he's like at the end, he's like, oh, let's just be friends with this girl he was after or whatever, and let's start out with a nice conversation. Let's do that instead. So that succinctly, in like the exact same plot of somebody trying to make an article for a newspaper in 22 minutes. Yeah. With better laughs and just more focus, just in 22 tightly wound moments. Yeah. This is an overly long movie.
Yeah, it really is. Like the scenes of the jock bullying the geeks, like, and all that. Like I got so tired of those. Like they happen again and again, and I just got. Yeah, it was like, ugh. And it just And one of my. Again, I'll just one more of the Boy Meets World thing. It's like just one line of media that always stuck with me throughout all of my life so far. Corey, he goes back to be a waitress at the restaurant while Sean's on his date. Yeah. And he's now just like an old scruffier like waitress. And he's like,
hanging out in the back watching Sean on his date with Topanga, and he's like, my hosiery is bunching. And that line always just stuck with me throughout, like from just seeing it. It's like I noticed while rewatching these lines, there's a shit ton of lines throughout Boy Meets World I remember, and that's one of them. And
Yeah.
then at the very last tagline, Corey's dressed up as a normal dude, but like the last line, he's like, rearranging, and he's just like, my hosiery is bunching. It's just a perfect line. I just love that show. Yeah. So yeah, that show did this movie better.
Yeah, I bet it took a lot of lessons from the movie about what to not do. So.
Yeah.
What do you think of it, Zach?
It was okay.
Yeah, like, that's about what I would think too.
That's better than what I would think of it. I thought it was just boring.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Very boring.
It's just a plot I've seen before done not as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That's about how I would summarize my feelings.
Mostly just liked it for like the 80s charm, I guess.
80s vibe was strong with this one.
Yeah.
I mean, so much Hairspray. So much Hairspray. Not as much as like Gem and the Holograms or something like that, but like, I mean, wow. This is, you want to see some crazy hair? This is some crazy hair. I mean, the bully, his hair didn't even look real. Like it looks separate from him. Like it was too golden.
Yeah, it reminded me of that Street Fighter character.
Yeah, Guile or whatever.
That fucking guy. He looked just like him because he had like these gloves on too, like these fucking half gloves.
Oh yeah,
things.
he's like he looks like he's about to be in like a street fight or like in like a Michael Jackson video or something like that. Beat it.
Speaking of Michael Jackson, like the Dirk or Rick.
Oh yeah,
his thing was like plastered with James Brown, and he's like, James Brown's the best. I dance to him when no one's watching. What's his face? And he mentioned Michael Jackson, all from James Brown.
Yeah.
So there's a Michael Jackson reference in it too.
Yeah, which you're definitely gonna get with 80s movies for sure.
I thought with that line we were gonna see him dance later.
Yeah, I did too.
Me too.
What the fuck?
I bet it's a deleted scene. I bet there's the deleted scenes for this movie, if there are any.
There should have been more.
Which there probably aren't. But if there are any, I bet they're better than the movie.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray is just the movie. No special features.
You have the Blu-ray?
It's a blank Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Excellent. How did it look on Blu-ray?
It looked pretty good, actually.
Good.
Surprisingly.
Nice. I started cheaping out on these movies too, because the past few I've been, renting the standard def for $1 more, but I used the Tubi free version with ads for whichever one had it. I forget which one of these movies, and then just the standard def on the other two from Amazon. Usually I do the HD just to, get a good view, but I was like, oh no.
Not for just one of the guys.
I mean, I thought it was going to be more funnier and outlandish than it was.
That's what I was thinking too, because a lot of people hype that movie up so much.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I was expecting like higher energy, higher like a lot more like pratfalls, and which we got some with the brother, but like I don't know, didn't have enough. I feel like. I mean, wasn't bad. It wasn't like the worst thing that I've seen like of its type. It's just it was way too long, and there was like very very little to it, which kind of makes it hard to recommend, to be honest.
Yeah, I would not.
I think I'd probably give it like a 2 out of 5 personally, just because I've definitely seen worse. And like, if you've never seen a movie like this might not be a horrible one to start with. But I don't know. Beyond that, I wasn't like crazy about just one of the guys, just one of the Bible salesmen, just one of the Coreys.
Just one of the fuckers.
Yeah, I gave it 2.5.
Yeah.
I gave it two.
Yeah.
One for the Flash scene.
Oh yeah, the Flash. Yeah, the
Because
Flash.
I was actually surprised by that. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa, hey,
I
awesome,
I didn't
nice.
expect to see the main
I was like,
character
at all.
like,
I did not expect. Like, I
Yeah.
expected boobies from the movie,
Right.
but not from the main character. I was like, oh, hell no, she ain't showing them.
Yeah.
Damn, and it wasn't even like a horny type of way. It was like, see, look, I'm a lady.
Well, I mean, she actually because she was and I'm like, I mean, maybe this is getting too personal, but I'm not really into women. But having said that, objectively speaking, like she had a pretty good-looking body.
Oh,
and
yeah,
her,
she
her
did.
breasts looked really well shaped.
As
and
someone who is
healthy.
into women, they were nice.
Yeah.
They're real
Yeah.
nice. I was like, oh, okay, you're getting a star for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my second star goes to the brother.
Yeah.
He had the best character arc.
Yeah.
He just had to blow a load off, and then he was a cool dude.
Yeah. He pretty much saved the movie.
And he actually helped his sister out a lot.
Yeah.
So he was a good brother when it came down to it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's like, wow, it's one of the better brother characters I've seen in an 80s movie. Most of the time they end up being like enemies or like
Or the douche. Like, I thought he was going to be the douchey guy from the first scene
yeah.
throughout. But no,
Yeah. No, he actually
turned
ended
out
up-
he had a nice little character arc.
yeah, he chilled. Anything else you guys want to say? Or...
Not really.
About
Okay.
covers that.
All right. Well, all right. Well, on to our choices for the next episode, then I guess, right?
And this will be our anniversary episode, guys.
Yeah. So hopefully we're choosing some special ones.
Yeah.
Should I just say my choice first? Or...
Sure, because I do have one that is, I guess, podcast-ish related. You can go ahead.
Mine's not really podcast related, but I'm choosing another sort of 80s movie, and I was looking through like some actors, just like me, like maybe about like maybe like 2 hours before we even started recording, just kind of going through like 80s movies and 80s actors, and I was like looking at the filmography of Sid Haig, and I was looking through like, and I realized I hadn't seen a whole lot of like his older movies, so I was looking through like his work, and I chose an 80s movie that I'm basically choosing because I like survival movies. It's called The Aftermath. I don't know anything about it, but I like the cover. Apparently it's about the apocalypse or something, and it has Sid Haig in it, so that's good enough for me.
I think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I think it was like early to mid 85, 84, 83, 82, 81, around that time. Like the first half of the 80s is when it came out. And yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting something that's probably not going to be that good, but I don't know.
Nice.
So mine, I chose one that's related to Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Oh,
One of my more enjoyed films that we've done in this,
yeah.
I guess. So by Andy Sidaris, it is The Day of the Warrior. And I chose it solely on the cover.
That is an awesome cover.
Just look up the cover. You don't know
Yeah.
why.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
You've seen
it's
the
a
movie?
perfect cover.
I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, you've
Yeah.
seen the cover though.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
Day of the Warrior. All right.
Warrior, and what was my choice again? Oh yeah, Aftermath.
After
Or
So-
The Aftermath.
my pick is going to be based on the first movie I picked, which was Kazam.
Ooh, excellent.
Nice.
I'm going to go with another Shaquille O'Neal movie, Steel.
Steel.
Isn't that like the only two he's done?
Yeah.
I haven't watched Steel yet, but I'm definitely ready for that one. Let me tell you, because Shaquille O'Neal, I'm not gonna complain.
I know Shaq is in Grown Ups too, and like I listened to the Doughboys, and they bring up this one little bit of Grown Ups 2 is that Shaq throws a guy over the roof, and it's the funniest thing in the whole movie. Apparently, I haven't seen Grown Ups 2, but
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, neither have I.
it was in Grown Ups 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Who'd you play?
Background extra number 502.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Matthew McConaughey, he got his start playing guy number 2.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
excellent.
I'm on my way.
Yeah, you're gonna be the next Matthew McConaughey.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, just to kind of summarize my feelings about The Beach Bum, because I like I said, I watched that. That's the new Matthew McConaughey movie. I thought it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
I'd
good.
recommend it.
Okay.
If you know who the director is, you pretty much know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, peace out. And good night and sweet dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over.